There's a strange tension that comes with this stage of life. The paradox is that your kids are grown, they're living their own lives, and if you did your job well, that's exactly what was supposed to happen. So why does doing your job well sometimes feel like grief? You've raised them to leave, and they did. And you're so proud that you could burst. I know that's true for me. But also, you miss being needed. And the truth is that both things are true at the same time. Today, we're talking about the gray areas that nobody talks about, the sandwich generation. It's when your kids no longer need you, but your parents now do, and you're stuck in the middle. You're still someone's child, and yet no longer someone's everything. If that's you, you're not alone. This is one of those human things about this season of life, and it's a difficult conversation. So that's why we're having it today. Welcome to the Sandwich Generation episode. Welcome to Beyond the Gray, the podcast about gray area drinking and how it impacts your health, relationships, purpose, and faith. This is where we have real conversations about the topics successful men over 50 don't usually talk about out loud. If you've built a great life but keep asking, is this it? You're not alone. When alcohol becomes your go-to off switch and your marriage, health, or purpose feel disconnected, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Kari, and this, my friend, is where the gray ends. Welcome back to Beyond the Gray. If you're new here, hi, I'm Kari, and I'm really glad that you are here. I talk about all the gray areas that we have in our life, from gray area drinking to gray area faith and marriages, even in our business and our health. So today we're focusing on a topic that I think is going to really resonate with a lot of people that are in that space known as the sandwich generation. This all started with a post that I did back on Mother's Day that really resonated with a lot of people. I got a lot of responses. It was quite overwhelming, to be honest. And I think it's because I named something that a lot of us are feeling that very few times we're able to talk about it out loud. And what I said in that post was about the kids being grown, they're living their own lives. And yes, I'm proud of them, but I also miss being needed. And I will tell you, I think it resonated a lot because here's some of the comments that I saw. Kari, this is 100% me as well. Somebody else wrote, wow, reading this really hit home. Somebody else said, I'm so proud of my kids, but part of me still wants to be needed as their dad. That one kind of hurt, right? And the last one that I'll share with you is, this Mother's Day feels weird, like it's not my holiday anymore. And that came from a mom of 3 kids. So yes, we all can feel this way, and hardly anybody's talking about it because it feels ungrateful to say some of these things out loud, right? You feel guilty for feeling sad. I know we shouldn't feel guilty, so we say, but because we're supposed to be proud and we're supposed to celebrate their independence. And you are proud. I know you are, but maybe you're also grieving. And that's the paradox here, that we can have some pride and we can have grief at the same time, and joy and loneliness in the same exact hour, and gratitude and loss sitting right next to each other, side by side. And it's this weird dichotomy. It's this weird cognitive dissonance in our head. While we want to be joyful and proud, and we are, we're also sad and lonely and maybe lost a little bit of our purpose and identity, which is what we're going to talk about today. Nobody warned you about this, right? At least they didn't warn it. Nobody warned me about it. So when your kids leave, you are supposed to celebrate. I know we did when my kids moved out. They moved out within a week of each other. My oldest son moved in with his now wife. This was, 14 years ago, I think. And then my son went off to college, all within the same week. And just like that, we're empty nesters. I'll never forget Rob turning to me, grabbed my hand, and he said, oh my gosh, this is a new chapter for us. Like, this is a new version of us. And then we both smiled and we're like, heck yeah, finally, we got freedom. It's time for us. And we did. We had a great time. We really did. But the reality of it was also that it got a little weird. The house was quiet. My dinner table went from 4 down to 2. and it felt super big. I didn't really feel like I had anyone to cook for outside of my husband, which of course he's very important. But it was weird. Nobody needed a ride. Nobody was coming to me for advice anymore. And then I realized I had organized my entire life around my kids. Maybe you did the same thing. Maybe you are doing the same thing. And then you're wondering, oh my gosh, this now has created an identity crisis. Because for 20 or 30 years, you were mom or dad first. That was your primary role. And now that role might look completely different. I know for the moms out there, I will tell you that I have two boys. I have two sons. And I can't even say they're boys anymore. They're grown adults. They're in their 30s. And I was close to both of them. I still am. I raised them to be good men and to be devoted husbands and fathers. And they are. One of my sons is married now with one child and another one on the way. And he's doing exactly what we raised him to do. And I'm so proud of him that I could cry. And my older son, oh my gosh, you want to talk about a rock star. This kid is like, this man is just incredible, him and his wife. But guess what? They don't need me the way that they used to. Matter of fact, they rarely ask me for advice anymore. And I miss that. And yet it's also good, but it's hard. So I sit there and I think about how they don't need me, and yet I'm so proud of them. And it's weird because maybe if you're a dad and you're listening, you might feel the same way as Rob, my husband. He doesn't actually feel the same way that I do. He's like, Kari, we did our job. They launched. They're doing their thing. That's what we did when we got married. And you know what? He's right. Because when Rob and I got married, we didn't spend that much time with our parents. We were all about our own family. We had our kids young. And we were so devoted to them. So why would we expect our kids to be any different? They now have their wives, and one has their child and one on the way. Maybe you have that for you as well. So there is a difference between men and women. They'll process things differently. Not always, but often. And you know what? That's okay too. We need to be able to recognize it. It doesn't mean that one way is right and the other is wrong. It just is. And here's what I do know, though. Whether you're a mom or a dad, whether you feel it deeply or just a little bit, this transition is real and it changes you. And sometimes it can change you in a way that you weren't expecting. Now I want to flip it around a little bit because you're dealing with your kids launching and at the same time, your parents are aging, or maybe they're already gone. You're stuck in the sandwich place of you're still someone's child, but you're no longer someone's everything. And you're right in the middle. And what that can look like is maybe your parents are doing fairly well, but you're also starting to see their decline. They're slower, they forget things, and they need more help. And I will tell you, having a father who has Alzheimer's, this is something that's very hard to watch and to hear. My conversations with him are always on repeat. And if you have a parent with dementia, you know what I'm talking about here. Or maybe you're already a caregiver for your parents. You're making their doctor's appointments, managing medications, and making decisions that you never thought you'd have to make. Again, we're not always warned about this. We just kind of know it's coming, but when it's here, it's scary. Or maybe your parents are already gone and you're navigating holidays for the first time without them. And I know that can feel really, really empty. We lost Rob's mom on my son's wedding day 11 years ago. And I got to tell you, I would do anything to have one more conversation with that woman. And it's hard. That first year was really hard. The first Christmas, the first Mother's Day, the first birthday, all of it. And if you're in that position right now, I feel you on that. So again, we're in this weird tension. You want our kids to be independent, but we also want to still feel needed. You want your parents to be healthy, but you're also preparing for the inevitable that's going to happen. None of us make it out of here alive. We know that our life is finite. It's not infinite, at least not on planet Earth. But that's another story for another day. So here's the real question underneath all of this is, who am I now? And that's a question for you. Who are you now? For 20 or 30 years, your identity has been mom or dad. That has been your primary role. And you organize your schedule around it, your money around it, your decisions around it. Everything evolved around raising your kids. And now that role is different. They don't need you in the same way. So who are you now? And you know what the trap is? That some people try to fill that void with stuff, whether it's busyness, work, hobbies, travel, and yes, drinking. Because I'll be honest with you, when my kids left, Rob and I did drink more. And it wasn't because we were depressed. Actually, it was quite the opposite, because we were in party mode, big time. Like, yay, we can stay out late. We don't have to be role models anymore. And looking back, that was kind of weird. We were filling this space with something because we didn't know what else to do with it. And I've seen this with my clients as well. Men whose drinking went up after their kids left the house. You know, a lot of times, men especially, they'll put all their emphasis on their kids' sports, getting them to where they are. And then when they leave the house and they go off to college and now they're playing college sports, they wonder, where am I in all of this? And I've seen their drinking go up. And it's never this dramatic thing. It's just more. It could be a glass or two at dinner, turns into 3 or 4. And then on the weekends, it becomes even more than that. And it's because they've lost their why. They've lost the built-in purpose of, I'm raising kids, I'm raising my son, or I'm raising my daughter, or both. So if you notice an uptick in your drinking since your kids launched, that might be why. You're filling a void. And alcohol, as we know, is just easy. It does fill the void, but then it creates a whole nother void, which I've talked a lot about in episode 13 about gray area drinking. So if you haven't heard that one, go back and check it out because it's very, very helpful if that's you. So I want to just acknowledge that, yeah, if you're in a sandwich generation right now, it is hard. And it's okay to say it out loud. You don't have to pretend that you're fine. You can and be proud and sad at the same time. I know that's true for me because both things are true. And second, I want you to go ahead and grieve it. Let yourself feel the loss. You're not being dramatic. You're not being selfish, I promise. You're being human. Grieve the season that's over because something did end, and that's worth acknowledging. Another thing I want to ask you to do is think about these questions for yourself. Who am I now? What's my purpose in this next season? What do I want to build? What do I want to be known for? Because here's the truth. You have 20, 30, maybe even 40 more years ahead of you. This isn't the end. This is a new chapter, and you get to decide what it looks like. With all things gray, it is a choice. Your opportunity is that your kids might not need you the same way, but they still need you. I promise they do. I'm finding that out. When I start to feel sad, is exactly when, randomly, not by coincidence, I'm sure, thank you God, I'll get a text message from one of them. They still need us, and our parents still need us. So they can be true at the same time. But you, my friend, you have time that you didn't before. So this is a great opportunity for you to invest more into your marriage, into your health, which is what Rob and I have been doing, getting more healthier. Like we're already pretty healthy, but we've been investing more time into that. Investing more into your faith. Highly suggest that, by the way. As you know, if you're a listener for a while, you know I'm a Christian, and I believe that faith is a strong core of everything that I am and everything that I do. And I would love to see that for you as well. And you have time to figure out what you want. So the question is, what do you want this next chapter to look like? Truly. So sit down and ask yourself the questions this week. Who am I now? Not who you were, not as a parent, but who are you wanting to become? And what would you do with your time if you weren't organizing your life around your kids anymore? What is important? What have you been putting off? What have you been avoiding that maybe you need to do? And what do you actually want? If it's okay, I'd like to say a prayer because I think this is important. So if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, go ahead. God, this season feels strange. I'm proud of my kids, but I'm also grieving. and I don't know who I am in this chapter. Will you show me? Help me to see what you have for me now, not what I used to be, but who I'm becoming. Help me embrace this season instead of resisting it. Amen. And one more thing, if you're feeling this and you haven't named it yet, you're not alone. This is one of the most human things about being in your 50s or 60s, and it's okay to feel all of it. The joy, the grief, the pride, and the loss. All of it at the same time. You're not crazy. You're not ungrateful. You're just human. Next week, we're going to talk about something that Rob and I did recently, and I really hope that you'll join us next week. I'm just going to tease you out on that. And for now, I'll sign off. I'm Kari. This is Beyond the Gray. And my friend, there is life beyond the sandwich generation. I promise you. I'll see you next week.